Chapter 4, marked for death. Chapter 4. My God. The war drums had begun at dawn. Stalking quietly the corridors of the ancient fortress, Narab carried a witchlight to illuminate his way. As he approached the doors to the great hall, two Myrtle guards dressed in full battle regalia stood away. They made no sound as he whisked past, nor blinked at the sight of him. "Greetings, Narab," a cold voice called from the throne. It has been long since I have seen your face in Sarsagoth. Have you grown bolder or more the fool?" Narab knelt at the base of the throne and kissed Delican's foot. Ugh. Well, I hope they were clean. You don't know where his feet had been. Why kiss the feet? I mean, feet walk on floors. Floors are dirty. This is for you to decide. These people, the people in this game have very dubious morals, don't they? Incest. Oh, mind you, to be fair to Navan, he said he wasn't going to conjugate the marriage. That was his actual words. He wasn't going to conjugate it. Now, as far as I know, conjugating is what you do with verbs, so I can only assume he was planning Scrabble on his wedding night. But who can tell? Anyway, this bloke's kissing Delican's foot. This isn't for you to decide. If my words are not to your liking, then my life is yours. It is already mine. Delican's wolfish eyes blazed in the darkness. "Speak!" he commanded. It's more acting there, you know. "I have just returned from a journey into the kingdom. I bring a prize. I have no interest in valueless baubles." "This is no bauble," Narab said, cutting off Delican, "and I think you will find it is of great value." "And would it have a name, this thing?" "Yes, my lord. Its name is Gorath." Narab sneered pridefully as he awaited his leader's praise, awaited the words that would restore his place in marital favour and rescind the order of death on his head. Perhaps he would even have a place among the new lords. Delican lunged from his throne, his razor-edged gauntlet tilling a bloody seam across Narab's face as he lashed him backwards. "You've wrecked everything, you dog," Delican bellowed. "But I've brought back the enemy of the Northlands," Narab sputtered, blood dripping from his torn lips. "With Gorath captive, we can proceed with our—" "You know nothing!" Narab retreated, suddenly aware that his efforts were wasted, that his oath of loyalty meant nothing to his hateful lord. Resolutely he stifled a flash of pain as the Morador leader thundered towards the doors. "And what of my life?" Narab whispered. Halting, Delican turned and hissed, "It is forfeit." Owen didn't want to be awake. Perhaps it was the drugs they had given him, or the endless walking that he'd done in the past month and a half. It's a month and a half later, everyone. All he could think about was sleeping now, that restful non-existence that interrupted the beatings and the oh, he's been beaten. Oh, poor Owen, and the hauling and the exhaustion. He just wanted to sleep, but that it could be worse. There's worse things than being beaten. He just wanted to sleep, but that irritating jangle wouldn't let him. Where was it coming from? Gorath, Owen asked. "Are you there?" Suddenly the jangle rattled out at this time, accompanied by a loud creak, and a flood of torchlight as bright as the sun out of the glowing corona lumbered the largest Morador he had yet seen. Delican. Oh, it's Delican. Oh, look, Owen. Owen is so sad. Poor Owen. Oh, look at Delican. He's having a whale of a time. "I see my assistants have been overzealous in their efforts to sedate you. It is proper to tremble when you are addressed by Delican, leader of the unified tribes of the Northlands. We found this among your things, kingdom dog. Tell me where you were going with it." "We weren't taking it anywhere, whatever it was. We just picked up everything we could carry and ran. We needed gold." "A lie. The seal that the Nighthawks used for our messages was broken. The new writing at the bottom of the page confirms your guilt. What does Gabbert's folly mean? Who are Arthur and Jimmy the Hand?" "I really have no idea. Someone else must have beaten us to it and opened the scroll before we got there. We took what we found and left before we got nabbed. Do you want us to cut you in on the booty?" "What I want is information. Your companion Gorath damns you as certainly as your lie does. Until he betrayed his own, he was second in power only to me. He shall die for his disloyalty. Since you choose to remain silent, I shall have your tongue and feed it to my rats. Have back your message, spy. He will do you little good in the grave." Oh, poor Owen. Delican stalked away. Still rattled by his interrogation, Owen tried to collect his fuzz-covered thoughts in a coherent whole. Thankfully his wits had provided the lies as needed, but only narrowly had he avoided the impulse to tell everything he knew. It was almost as if he was being prodded, coerced, bewitched. Magic? Astonished he had been unaware of it at the time, the boy looked again at the bulky warrior who now stood whispering over Gareth's limp form. At first he believed Delican was incanting a spell, one perhaps intended to coerce the truth from his victim, but after a few moments it became clear the warlord was conversing with his barely conscious friend. No, Gareth croaked, shaking his head. Plans unfulfilled, Delican whispered finally. Abruptly he struck. Oh, poor Gareth, that nearly knocked your beard off. It was too much to absorb. Even if the events unfurling before him weren't openly damning, Owen had seen enough to keep him swimming in a sea of doubts, all of them centering on the loyalty of his friend and travelling companion. Worse still, he had to deliver the message to Prince Arutha, but, that was weeks ago, matey. You'd been in prison for a month and a half, outside the Dimwood, and he would need Gareth's help to do it. Desperately he wished he had time to sort things out, but time was the one commodity he didn't have. Enjoy your deaths. I know I shall. Ha 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 ha. Delicate, scratchy voice snatched. The evil laugh was my own. I thought I'd just add that for emphasis. Delicate, scratchy voice snatched Owen out of his thoughts, directed his attention to where the Moradel stood in the doorway, gesturing to someone in the dungeon corridor. From nowhere, a monolithic door swung into place, and once again the room was a land of shadows. Experimentally, Owen struck the bars of the cage, knowing full well the corroded structure was too solid to yield. But even as his fingertips came away from the metal, the bars began a keening vibration, the iron harmonies evocative of distant temple bells. Someone was working magic, and it wasn't him. Oh, fancy that. Owen wasted no time. God damn. Sore throat. Later he could debate to his heart's content about who it was that had set them free. But it was Pug. Pug is a magician we met, oh god, many millions of videos ago, in Prince Arutha's court. Later he could debate to his heart's content about who it was. I know who it was that had set them free, and what their reasons for doing so might be, but at the moment he had no thought in him but finding a means to get them out of the darkened cell alive. Hurrying to Gareth, he freed him of his iron manacles and allowed the Moradel to lean against his shoulder as they limped together towards the heavy dungeon door. Again, tugging at the handle, they found that the lock was undone. Another gift from their unknown benefactor. What about the guard? Owen whispered, allowing Gareth to stand once more on his own. Gareth lifted his head and spoke, his speech still slurred by the drugs that had been administered to them. Keep moving, he said, waving a hand to the door. No one is there. Pushing the door, they found themselves confronting a wide hallway with passages leading in 3 other directions. Chapter 4, marked for death. Escape from the... Well, we are a long way up north, aren't we? Right, and... yeah, oh, the Noctolo gear. Damn you, I had a bloody good sword for Gareth, it better be in here. Well, some of what we lost is in there. Perhaps there's another one. Perhaps there's another chest in here. Anyway, I'm not going to look for this now. That's the end of this video. It's gone on long enough. Let's save it then. So we're into chapter 4 now. Yeah, I'm doing that one. Yeah, go on, save. So, yes, we'll start playing chapter 27, session 4. What? I don't know what I'm talking about now. We'll start playing probably next time, this chapter probably next time, in the next session, whatever, I don't know, and I will see you then.